sad, man.
It's you gotta wear that armor. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm a big guy. People will make comments about my weight all the time, and I'll say this. One of my favorite insults is the one where someone will pull up in a car, yell something out their window, and drive away. It's my favorite insult because it happens a lot. You can ask Steve, you can ask any of my friends. We're walking and somebody will just say expletive, blah, 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 fatty, whatever. And then they just drive off. And I'm just like,
horrible.
Hi. I have to wear this armor of just like, you sped off in a car. You're a little child. But
No,
yeah,
you're right. So even it's amazing the armor that we're able to wear when our time was in our generation to now, because it just seems like the armor they wear is really thin.
Mm-hmm. You forget being that age.
Yeah.
You really do, of like how you thought and how you felt because you've grown out of it. Yeah. And you're like, I've left this behind. Now I'm in this place. Mm-hmm. And I really feel for the kids, man. Like I can't imagine going through life and caring about what every single little person is going to say or do. Mm-hmm. I can't.
Because we think that our time was hard, but I really think that every generation does get harder.
Yeah, it does.
It's like I wouldn't want to live in their world right now. There's no way.
Well, because back in the day, not everyone had a phone. Like, and I know I'm old. I didn't have my first cell phone until I could pay for it. It was a flip phone. No smartphone, no internet access, and just texting. You know, I had like
texting. That was a gift.
Yeah,
you could even do that because you had to pay for it.
I had 1,000 text messages a month.
Right. So you're like, hold on, where am I at 732? Yeah, I'm doing okay.
And kids are like, you're making that up. I'm like, no, I literally could text a number, see how many texts I had left.
Totally.
And then just like, okay, I had to plan out for the rest of the month.
Yes.
Text me, call me after 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
And like all that.
Dude, that's the same. Yeah, I'm the same way.
But like,
phone calls I could make, it was like how many minutes I had or minutes. Man, I've only got like some odd minutes left for 2 weeks. Yeah, and I got to be careful with that.
You accidentally hit the internet button and it charged you 10 cents.
Oh, dude, like, you might as well just forget it, dude.
Yeah. But I didn't have a phone until I could pay for it.
Yeah.
And like that was much like, I think I was like a junior in high school. Yeah. And I had my phone. But even then it was like texting people.
Sure.
It was like you just have that immediate connection with them.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like everyone's got unlimited internet. Everyone's got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
oh my God,
TikTok, or sorry, X or whatever.
Whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok, it's all just immediate. Why didn't you respond to this? Why didn't you see this? You know, why didn't you like it? Why didn't you heart it? Why didn't you share it?
Sure.
And there's a lot of pressure on the immediate now.
It is.
And I don't envy the kids with that.
No, but that's how and I think that's how they see God is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. God is supposed to be now.
Yeah.
God is supposed to be a drive-through God in my generation because I get everything else now. So he should be that way too.
If God's all powerful, then he should be able to snap his fingers and fix this immediately for me.
God, I need you to go do this right now. I have to be there in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think each generation has its own reason how they connect God with the current circumstances with of what the world is doing or going through.
Right.
And that's what my generation was don't do anything wrong because God will do this to you.
Yeah.
But now they're like, well, God's only there when I only need him when I want him. He's a bookshelf God. Mm-hmm. I'll take him down when I need him, and when I don't, I'll put him back up there.
It's that security blanket.
It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
No, I totally agree. And it's just, you try to change the mind of the kids. You try to be like, listen, you can have things immediately, but is it worth it? You know, if I can have a McDonald's cheeseburger in 30 seconds and it tastes like a McDonald's cheeseburger and it's like terrible for me, or I could wait 10 minutes and have a decent meal, or 20 minutes, or however long it takes. Texas Roadhouse now is almost as cheap as McDonald's. Right. You're like, at least have a quality meal. Like you're waiting that extra time for the better things. Yeah. If you get this instant gratification just right now, is it really gratifying? Mm-hmm. Because you have to have it so often.
Well, yeah, and I just think
so much of it.
If I'm trying to persuade you to accept Jesus, is that benefiting you? I shouldn't have to persuade you. You should want him. And I think you could use that from people that struggle with addiction. Mm-hmm. No one's going to change until they want to change. Yeah. No one's going to let go of things until you could do it till you're blue in the face.
Yep.
And you can have an intervention for them. You could even say it in a spiritual way, you're going to have an intervention for them. But until they really want to make the change, they're not going to.
Yeah.
So what do you just do to those kind of people? You love them.
Yeah.
If you're talking to the youth, or if you're talking to people in your world, you just love them.
Yeah.
You just talk to them. And eventually all that stuff will sink in because you're planting seeds. But don't sit and try to persuade them, because that's not going to work. That's not what, in my opinion, that's not what Jesus even wants.
Yeah.
You're not going to persuade someone to come to him. The Spirit, no one comes to the Spirit unless they're drawn by him, So
No, I agree. Like, and again, I've told the kids, like, I'm going to set this down on the table. I'm going to set salvation down right here. Jesus set it down right here. I can't force you to make this decision. Your boyfriend or girlfriend can't make the decision for you. Your parents aren't going to make it. Your siblings, no one's going to make it. No one's going to answer for you. You have to be the one to do it. And I tell the kids, like, no one can take that away from you.
no, not at all.
Like, this is your call.
Absolutely.
So you ever feel helpless or powerless, understand that your decision for eternity is on you. And no one else can influence that. Sure, people can say things and do things, and it can maybe sway you one way or another. But ultimately, you've got to be the one to pick it up.
Right.
Or walk away.
Right.
And that's on you, and you can't blame or credit anybody else for it.
That's that age of accountability that we've always heard growing up. But they're like, well, what does that even mean? It's like, well, when you're accountable for within your own heart and your own mind, you're accountable for your own actions.
Yeah.
It's not even just when little kids learn right and wrong. Well, now that's on them. No. It's an accountability of when it really is your decision, knowing that you have repercussions to your actions, whether it be good or whether it be bad.
Yeah.
And so now that is your decision. If you want to go to heaven, if you want to go to hell, because yes, they're both a real place.
Yep.
It's on you now.
Yeah.
I even tell my kids that, my older two. I go, Riley, you've learned it young, and our oldest daughter, Katie, you're 18. You know that too. This is in your court now. And now our job as parents is to make sure that you still get everything you need, but still to really coach you on and cheer you on to say, always put Jesus first.
Yeah.
It has to be that way. So
Well, that's a good basis of family, is like not to shove it down a throat, but to just remind, like, hey, Jesus loves you. God's got your back.
right.
You
Can do it. You can try everything in this world, but nothing is going to satisfy or fill the void like Jesus does. And we tell them that.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're never saying to go try everything. It's not that. So I don't want anyone going away saying that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But it's like, I'm going to lay it out to them, because I already know that's what they're thinking, because their mom and myself, my wife, we've been there. We've made our choices too. And it's like, you all have to make that choice too. So remember to make good ones.
Yeah.
And your mom and dad are always going to be here. We're always going to be there for you. But you got to realize, ultimately, we're not always going to be able to be there when you make decisions.
Yeah.
So we just hope that we're giving you good discernment and knowing how to choose right and wrong, and that you really need to go to God for everything.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's another thing too, because I had a very big change when I was a teenager of like my mindset of, I used to blame everything on somebody else.
sure.
It was somebody else's fault I was this way. I was born into this family.
Understand.
Therefore, all of these problems are their fault and nothing is on me.
Right.
And I am completely a victim, and that's how it is. My life is a airport novel, boo-hoo me. I had that change of like, no, this is on me.
Yeah.
Like, granted, people made decisions that impacted me and that hurt me. Sure, they did that. How I'm reacting to it and how I'm living out afterwards, that's on me. Like,
It is.
I understand people do bad things. I understand people say bad things, and the bad things sometimes just happen.
Right.
I understand that.
Right.
But your reaction to it is what makes you who you are.
That's our number one rule. I don't want to say rule, but that's one of our number one things in our home. And I keep bringing stuff up like that, but it is. I said, you cannot choose how this world's going to come at you, but you can choose how you respond to it.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell our kids, down to our 7-year-old. You can't always choose what happens in your class today at school, but you can choose how you respond to it, buddy.
Yep.
You can have a good day, even if everyone else is having a bad day.
Exactly.
And it's all about your response, because that's what God gave us, choice. That's what we always learned in drama, right? I know eventually we were going to go there, but we always learned that. It's all about choice. We always left that to people. Either you're going to choose God or you're not.
Yeah. And let's shift gears into drama a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because we both kind of were in that for a while. And I know that you've always had this imagination and just these different thoughts of, like, I've seen how you guys would build dramas, you and Chris and Dawn Cox, the previous youth directors, and the drama overseers, and how you guys would put stuff together and how it would start and then versus how it would finish was my favorite thing. Because like seeing the groundwork that you guys laid, it was like, okay, it's going to look like this in a house. There's going to be a garage with a boat. And then it's like, okay, we're going to be at a hospital and there's going to be a shooting. And it's like, how did you, what?
That's so true, man. But what did Chris has always told all of us? It's like Legos.
It is.
You really just pour it all out. You're not going to use every piece, but you'll pull apart and use the ones you need, ones you push away, the ones you don't. And somehow something comes out of it.
Right.
And it always did.
Yeah.
It always did.
It always came together, and like we always worked really well under pressure.
We did.
Because it would get to a point to where it's like, okay, we got like 4 weeks to get this out. We got to hammer some stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
And dramas were a very big part of my stickability here because there was that tight-knit group of people.
Sure.
And like we were always hanging over at the Cox's house and like just building those memories. It wasn't even like doing stuff at church. It was, watching you guys stack cookies on Steven when he was asleep. Like stuff like that. And
that was my family away from family, to be honest. I mean, I even got a tattoo that kind of resembles it for Bold Ministries. And it is always to know that we always try to reach everywhere around the world. Yeah. North, south, east, and west. And I just thought, honestly, if I'm being, raw there, I thought that Bold Ministry was going to be what I did the rest of my life. That's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I could have woke up every day thinking about dramas and thinking about how to share it in a stadium full of 30,000 people. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. That's where my dreams were. And, it doesn't always go. We plan, but God could maybe do something down the road. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've always, that was my passion. That really, Bold Ministries and just drama, how we did it, was my passion. Because I know people here, they're like, oh, dramas. Just so people know, if they've never seen what we didn't do dramas like everybody else did. Yeah. It was real life. And I loved it.
There weren't a lot of robes and sashes and like piano.
Well, never ended well. Most of them didn't end well.
Most of them didn't. Yeah.
It left a choice for you to make.
Yeah.
That's how we tried to leave it. God is always there, but sometimes we didn't choose God. That's how some of our dramas. Yeah. And it showed the repercussions of those.
Well, and there was the one that you did. You actually filmed it upstairs when they had you hang
in the cave. Yep. I remember that we were building the cave, and I put a harness on.
Yep.
And we were using like the metal studs and stuff. It had like a little stool underneath me, and they used it to like kick it away, but the harness caught me. But it looked like in the shadow and on how the camera, like somebody was hanging, we had to use that for suicide. Yeah. And someone that decided did not choose God and went into a casket. We had a casket. We had the demons that were there, and then that was an interesting one because there were some things that happened when we first shot that at the cave on Main Street when we first did it. That I was supposed to just be carried out in the casket after the drama was over. Yeah. Well, that's when I started hitting the casket saying, I'm sorry, let me out. I promise I'll change. Get me out of here. And it was just, Chris and Don didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't know I was going to do that, but I thought that it needed to be added for people that were there to show you need to make the change now because once that happens, there's no going back. Yep. And man, there's so much I could talk about there, man.
But that's what's so cool about these dramas that you guys did, because that was before I even joined.
Right. Right.
I didn't join until it was already established here at this building, like Main Street. I don't even remember you guys doing it there.
Okay.
I remember you guys doing it here.
See, I forgot. Okay. And I thought you were down there too.
I was on Main Street, but I don't know if I was there that night.
Okay.
I was also, when Main Street was there, I think I was like a year too young to go down there.
I understand. We still let a lot of people come in there.
But I was also 6 foot and giant, so they're like, he looks about 18.
Sure, why not? You're good.
But when you guys did it here, the Extreme Days one,
was that the first one you seen?
That was the first one I had seen live.
Okay, that was the the series, right? Is that what you're talking about? Okay,
yeah. And I think you guys did that night, the hanging one, because I remember seeing that live on that stage. Yeah. It may have been a different day, but seeing the video and like, oh, this is different. Because my view of it was like, oh, it's a church play. Okay,
yeah, absolutely. That's what people think we do.
Yeah.
Until they see it.
Because when I was a little kid, I went to a Lutheran school over in Fenton. And I was in a church play. I was able. My, Cain killed me. I had a lamb. But like, I did was hold out a lamb. And I'm like, oh, that's what a church play is. That's what a drama is.
Sure.
And then I see that and I'm like, okay. Well, that was off-putting, but necessary. but very necessary to show that kind of stuff because that is the stuff people are dealing with.
Thank you.
You know,
Yes.
like it's great. And I'm not going to knock the other dramas. I'm not going to knock like giving praise to God through song and dance.
No, not at all.
All of that.
We just weren't called to that.
But that's right. That's one side of the page. The other side is like, there is also raw and real stuff, drugs, alcohol, physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse.
We dealt with the demons in the closet. That's what we did.
The stuff you don't want to talk about, the stuff we don't want to advertise.
Yes, absolutely.
One of my favorite ones that we ever did was the Just Like You.
Oh yeah.
The showing basically showing a mirror to a church where you had a pastor that was having an affair. You had an associate pastor who was beating his wife. I played a usher who kicked a homeless guy out and stole money from the offering. You had a pregnant girl who wasn't married getting made fun of by a bunch of other girls. Yep. And they were just doing a church service like it was just normal. And it was like,
I forgot about that one. See, I forgot about some of these.
Yeah. But it was like, and then Tyler's character's like, and they're doing it to the song by 3 Days Grace, just like you. It's like, I could be mean, I could be hateful, I could be just like you. And that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be this kind of hateful type of church or this type of churchgoer that's like, I'm going to judge you because you're different. I'm going to kick you out because you don't meet our requirements.
Right.
I'm going to, make fun of you because you got pregnant or whatever, like, and judge you, like, because you made a decision.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
It's just stuff like that.
Bold Ministries just hit a lot of avenues. I mean, we would go to Teen Talent Expo in the Pentecostal district, and there would be times we'd place first place, second place, whatever. But it was the fact that we got the audience that we did, because that's what we wanted to hit more than anybody, was even some of these church people that didn't deal with this stuff in their churches. Yep. And we would get people that would come to us later on that were there, that they had their own ministers or ministries that were dealing with certain topics that we talked about.
Yeah.
And it would make them uncomfortable. But it was a God thing. And it's like, hey, we don't do this to go this. We're doing this to say you're not alone.
Right.
We know that you're dealing with it. And that's why God put it on our heart to do these dramas, was we dealt with domestic violence, with premarital sex. We dealt with pornography, what drinking can do if it gets out of hand. I mean, there were beatings. Where there was just people that went to hell. We dealt with hell, what it could be like if you made the right decisions. People that dealt with drugs, heroin, you name it. We just did so much stuff. Suicide, like we talked about. But it's things that no one wants to talk about because they're like, well, the church needs to stay away from that because you get into some disputes with people. Well, Jesus said he didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword. I'm bringing division because no one's going to be able to handle what I'm about to say. Yeah. And that's really what Bold Ministries was.
That is.
And that's what I loved about it, man. I mean, the stuff that we did was just, then sometimes we'd feel like it wouldn't work. I remember going to a church and we did that. The suicide one. Yeah. And nothing was seeming to go click. We were missing some beats here and there, not doing it at the right time. Chris and Don are kind of to the side. I'm the one kind of doing the main part on this one. And you could just see in their eyes like, man, hurry up, just get this done. This is ridiculous. Anyway, we finish up. We're getting ready to leave. We're packing up. And then a lady come running out to us and said, hey, before you guys leave, I just wanted to let you guys know I want to thank you for doing that, because I think it was like her nephew or something was really struggling, and I got him at church tonight, and he's here, and he's seen that, and he was contemplating suicide, and he needed to see that, and now his life changed, and that's why. And then she left, and that's when we had developed the just one. Yeah, we'd always put that one finger up, going, just one, saying it's all about, even if it's just for one person. Yep. Then we're here for who God wanted us to be here for. Absolutely. That's what I loved about it. That's what made it all worth it, man.
Yeah. Because you don't know. You don't know walking in, whether you're preaching, whether you're singing, whether you're doing a drama, human video, whatever. No. You have no idea what someone's walking through the door with. No. You don't know what bags they're carrying.
No. And I can't sit here and say that every time we did one that everybody accepted it. There's some places that didn't. Mm-hmm. They didn't bring us back because it was just too much for them. Yeah. I understand. I respect your decision, but just, you're going to remember us. I guarantee you that. Yeah. You will remember us. Right. And that's not to say a pat on our back. It's to say that you know that these things need to be dealt with because it's going on in your church or your home or wherever it's at. Yeah.
So you can pretty up as much as you want, but sin will still find its way out.
Absolutely.
Like your struggles and your demons, they will find a way to the surface. Yep. And you can parade yourself around as a perfect church with perfect people who never do no wrong. Go for it. And I pray that it's true. but I know that it isn't.
That's right.
I know that you've got your issues because you're human. There's none righteous, not one.
Not one.
Don't try to perceive yourself to be, because if you are, then why didn't you die for our sins? It's it's like taking these dramas and showing these people like, yes, there are. We did the pornography one, the 9 out of 10, which I was terrified.
That was a hard one, man.
That was very difficult.
That was one of the longest ones we did.
It was.
It was like 10 minutes long, I think.
Yeah, because there was so much music, and that's why I talked about like the rhythm earlier, and like with dramas, because there's very much of like you're listening for beats and you're counting measures.
Oh, totally.
And like, when is my time? Okay, here's this specific audio cue. 1, 2, 3, and then you do the.
Because if I miss it, then the next person behind me is going to be behind, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a logistical thing to it, but that one specifically, 9 out of 10, that one was that pornography, like
what it goes. It was in the mind.
Yeah.
If people are listening, what it is we dealt with. It was 9 times. 9 out of 10, and it was to see what goes on in the mind of someone that has really let pornography consume them and what it does to their life. And that was a hard one, man.
It was very choreographed, and which was, was necessary for it. But dealing with that, you don't see that ever. Nope. Nobody wants to talk about that little demon in the corner.
Nope. Oh, not at all. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
No. Well,
makes us uncomfortable.
I heard it, and this is heard from someone who heard from a pastor kind of thing, that pornography is a phase, and that you grow out of it. And I'm like,
wow.
Sin is not a phase that you will grow out of.
That's a good way to put it.
There's
That's
no
so true.
possible way that you're just going to, one day I just don't sin no more. I'm good. Or I move my sin on to something else. Like, these are struggles that people are dealing with, and they need to know that, A, they're not alone. There are people going through this stuff.
That's right.
And there are resources for them to get the help that they need.
And that's scary to think of the people that are being told this.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's
very terrifying.
I feel bad for them, to be honest with you. My heart breaks for them because that's not true. Because then they're like, well, I'll eventually get over it. Well, we pray that you do.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a desire and trust in God. And sometimes it does take extra help. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a thing that goes click. Sometimes God does that to some people and can remove it from them. Do we know why he does it that way? No, but it's not ours to know that.
Right.
But man, I feel bad for people that are told that, man.
It's got to be, you said it earlier, it's got to be your decision.
It does.
You want to change, it's got to be yours.
It is. But I'll tell you what, doing Bold Ministries, that brought a lot of friendships. And that's something we could even talk about too, is how it brought family. Like there's all of us, we just feel like we're family now because of those ties that were so close.
Right.
And we can hang out with a drop of a hat, and it's just like we've been together forever. Mm-hmm. I've not seen you in months, but go hang out and we just feel like we've been together every day.
Yeah. Well, and I'll bring this story up because I wasn't on the team officially at this point when we went to Hannibal. It was the second time I think we went to Hannibal. I was just along to schlep. And
those were some trips, buddy.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of in the basement of this church in this youth room on these couches, and you and Cody are like quoting Tommy Boy and things like that, and like going through these whole movies, Ace Ventura, and you guys are just going back and forth, and I'm crying, laughing, and I was just like, this is what it's like. To have a group like this.
That's awesome.
This is what it's like to have friends.
I miss that stuff. Yeah.
It was so good because I was just there to schlep.
Yeah.
Like I'm like just lifting up stuff. Yeah. And that's all it was. But it was that moment of just like, these are friends. This is family. We could get together now and do it again.
We could.
At like you said, the drop of a hat.
I love it, dude. I could sit. Going down to camp, doing stuff at camp.
Yeah.
Didn't
you? Was it you who ricocheted off the concrete, or that was Scotty?
We both did. But Scott hit first because of me hitting him so hard.
Yeah.
And man, that was a hard one.
One of you guys got a concussion.
That was Scott because his head bounced off the concrete and hit in the way that I hit him. I guess you could say it was him that was that, because I hit off him and it knocked the wind out of me, which felt like my rib was broken, because it just hurt so bad. But his was worse, man. He just bounced right off the concrete and had to keep. He kept going through it.
Yeah,
and
that's why you practice muscle
called
memory.
Chains. Oh, everybody remember the chains. Whoever hears this, man.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some stories
that's
from
some
that one.
Violence right there.
That was a crazy one. That was a crazy drama there.
Because anybody who's ever been in it there's been blood drawn. There has been injuries.
There is. Because we go for the whole thing. It's not that we're trying to be stupid.
Right.
Not that we're trying to be reckless, but we're trying to make it as real as we can.
Mm-hmm.
to make people feel like, man, that's what I go through. That's how the enemy fights me.
That's like it.
That's what it
it
was.
is a person sitting on a chair getting beat and chained up. Essentially, is like for what is it, like 4 minutes?
Something like that. It's what the enemy does to us, though.
But it's a good visual representation of how you feel
In our mind, absolutely.
Yeah. Of like, man, I'm getting beaten down every which way. But Sunday, by these issues, by these things that come up, by my own hand or whatever it may be, by the enemy putting things in my way, this is a visual representation of that. And like, I can now connect with this.
Oh, totally. And that was the same way with, I got to bring this one up. If I don't, I think we would both be in trouble because I know there may be some that listen to this. Let Go. Because Let Go was like one of everybody's favorites that we did. Mm-hmm. And that one, man, that really hit on a lot of...
It did.
Man, I mean, Kevin, we could dissect that one so much.
That one got a lot because it dealt with rape and homosexuality.
Yes.
And
for the just,
for that. And one of the parts of that was the rape scene where it was a guy gives a girl a necklace and tries to get a little bit more, and she's like no, and she keeps pulling back. Well, eventually at one of the beats of the song, he grabs her and takes her to the ground. And then they freeze, and then the other scene starts to happen. Well, then it comes back to that scene.
That's right.
And the guy stands up, and on a drum beat, if you know the song Let Go, you know the drum beat.
By Red.
The band Red on social media.
That's right.
And he, on the beat, he just takes his fly and zips it up and walks off.
That's right.
And it was that we performed at Nationals. And
it turned some heads, man.
I wish I could have put up a camera to this
from the back
audience.
looking at. Oh, totally. I say that every time, man.
Yes.
Because people were like, what just happened?
On that, he's like,
did
he just at church depict a rape on stage?
That don't happen. Yeah, it does happen.
Yes, it does.
Every day. People sitting out in the audience have probably had it happen to them in some form or fashion, and you just haven't.
And you haven't mentioned it. You haven't talked about it. You just brush it over.
Saying they're not alone.
Because it's a very touchy subject. It's very awkward to talk about. Yeah, talk about it.
Totally. So we're gonna act it out in front of you.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I get it that some of this stuff is awkward and hard and difficult to talk about, to have these conversations, but these people going through this stuff, they need to know.
Right. We didn't have to go through all the detail of what happened, so people are clarifying here.
Yeah.
But it was the exact points of how it was done within the drama that was able to be seen. We didn't go through everything, but it was enough to know, wow, they're
happened.
depicting this person just got raped.
And people are looking at that and go, I feel seen.
Right.
Because this is something I've had to deal with.
I've not been able to share that with nobody. Right. Absolutely.
And that's where healing can begin, because you can't hold on to
it's
things.
Speaking to me.
Yeah.
God's speaking to me through this. And through that drama, it goes to show that when we had the mirrors up, people had to, they wanted to kill themselves. They didn't know how to handle it within their mind, their emotions. They would peel off, like what we had fake skin on them, like on their faces and their arms and their shirts. They'd rip some of this stuff, like the fake skin and stuff, off to show the true selves of them and become who God called them to be. Because they said, I'm not going to settle. And I'm not going to be this way. It's a powerful drama.
Very good.
And I love that one.
I really do. I always say I was the best mirror ever.
I know. I was going to bring that up because I was like, if you guys missed your beats on that mirror, man, it would mess the whole thing up. So you guys had to hit that.
There was one time, because you had door frames, and we had these big mirrors, these big 2-panel mirrors, the size of a door.
Yeah,
and they were built out of
heavier.
Yeah, they were built out of 2x4s or 2x6s, something like that, something heavy.
Yeah,
and you had these 2 handles in the back, and you have to like lift it up and put it in the doorway, so when the person that's acting as the reflection gets pulled out, you put the mirror there, so when they come back up with no skin,
that's right,
where they rip that skin off, they rip the clothes off, and they look
which
at themselves.
They had stuff on underneath, so everyone knows that. Yes,
they did. They look at their true selves in the mirror. There was an actual reflection.
That's right.
So the lights would go down. Well, one of them we had attached to the door frame. We had like a black backdrop in front of that to hide me and the mirrors. Well, the lights go down. I lift the mirror up and I place it on my mark and I hold it. I knock the whole backdrop over.
I remember that.
And I'm like, I'm 6'4", 3 feet wide, every bit. I'm trying to be as small as possible, hiding behind this door, so that I'm not seen, so it doesn't break that illusion. Because I'm just like, I don't want to be the one to mess this up.
I can't move. Right. Yes,
I can't move. Wait for the lights to go off, and then I can take everything.
Yeah. Sorry for anyone behind me right now. I'm not moving.
Yeah, exactly. And but that is like, that's who I wanted to be on that team. I didn't want to be like a leading role because
Sure.
I'm, doing all the whatevers and like I can just be a mirror.
Right.
Like that would be great.
But every part was important because every
Yeah.
part was needed.
It was.
And that's what we always try to communicate to everybody that was there. Please don't ever feel like just because you're not called to be the main person doesn't mean you're not the main person.
Yeah.
And
It still has to have you to be performed. Like
right.
I need the sound guy, I need the lighting guy, I need everyone to be on cues, props, whatever it may
oh my
be.
gosh, yes.
Like it's all super important.
Makeup. I mean, there was just so much that went on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. People have no clue what preparation was to do one of those things, but we loved it.
Yeah.
We did stuff here at the cave. You know,
Yeah.
we did a whole night of one, where it was like 3 or 4 of them that we
Yeah.
did.
We did a couple of
And-
those. We did I think it was the fight inside, and then there was another one we had done.
We decorated the whole cave and on the
Decorated
theme
whole
of it.
place, yeah. It was an insane asylum. We had
Yes.
chains hanging.
Oh, the
I still got
insane
some chains
asylum,
hanging
yeah.
out there.
Dude, that's yeah.
But yeah, that's what was so cool about it. It turned it into like a reality house. Like
Oh, totally.
Did you ever go to Guts Church?
I always wanted to, heard about it, never did.
We did. I did one time. I know that group went several times.
Yeah, they did.
I went the one time. Actually, I wish I still had it. I had the ticket for it in my wallet
Oh man.
up until like a few years ago. I washed my wallet and it just disintegrated. But I had a ticket
Wow.
to go into Guts, and that was a reality house. Like you walk in and like there are these ripped dudes just beating Jesus like
Yeah.
hard, like blood flying. They come up to you and like put the whip in your face.
Why don't you go do it?
Yeah. They're like, here, you take it, and you go to an elevator to hell, and there's like all this imagery, and like it's scary.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, it's because we just want to. A lot of people in the world just want to church things up and don't want to face the reality of what goes on in the world. And I'm sorry, I just don't live that way.
Yeah.
Just don't live that way.
Yeah, I'm not doing you any kind of service by making it fake or dressed up.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I know Bold had its time, had its season, and I loved it, man, with all my heart. I did that for so many years that I still eat, sleep, and breathe it. I have dramas I've put in my head. I've already got songs that I've put together of ones that even deal with how in the Bible days what it would have been like to use our music now, like the band Red or NF, some of the good people, artists that I like, and using them to connect with the Bible nowadays. I mean, there's stuff that I never stop eat, sleep, and breathing Bold ministry and drama. I love it.
Well, and it's funny you say that because like I've never been involved in the making of a drama, but I've always like had those in my head of like this is what I'd want to do. Linkin Park was a big band I used to listen to back in the day. There's a song called "Breaking the Habit" that I'd like over and over again. I'm playing a drama in my head of it.
The name
Every
of
time
it
I
sounds
hear it.
good already. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like stuff like that. Like more recently, it's been a band called Wage War.
Okay, heard of them.
They're very kind of heavy-ish. They have really good message in their music, and it's just like what they're talking about. Like this would fit into a drama. This would be what we would do modern day, like Bold. And just that style of music, it is much like Red.
Yeah.
Just that intensity and just those beats that hit, and you're like, this would be the sun and the moon aligning kind of
Yes.
thing.
Well, Kevin, you as well as I know people may watch this or listen to this go, we used the band Red all the time, and
All
some
the
of them would get
time.
so sick of it, but they just had good stuff, man.
They
It
did.
was just
We had dramas from Red albums and like songs that we never put out on stage. That we just practiced
totally.
a little.
Oh, we could even bring that up as like outtakes or bloopers or things because those were stuff we never showed people that we made.
There was one we were working on. It was super heavy, and it was a dad who was molesting his daughter.
Yeah.
And like
Which one?
that kind of
That was-
subject. It was off the Fight Inside album. I can't think.
Is that what it was? Okay, I'd have to.
I have to look up the track list for that. But
Yeah.
it was
And people just realize they hear this stuff. They're like, wow, you guys would deal with that kind of topic or that kind of, issues of life. It's like, that's the only stuff that we would deal with because that's just, nobody else was. So, why doesn't the church? That's the stuff that needed to be dealt with. We talked about it. I don't know. We just visually did the best that we could to push the fences as far as we could.
right.
And make it happen. Man, I love that. I could.
It's Confessions. What's Inside My Head from the Innocence and Instinct.
Confessions.
Yeah, because there was a couple.
Dude, I
on there that
forgot
was
about
like,
that one.
That one was very rough. That drama.
Yeah.
Not so much like we were getting it down, but the subject matter was like This is weighing on
This
my
is
heart.
thick. Yeah.
This is like, because it kind of goes back and forth of just like the dad hating himself for what he's doing and the daughter hating the dad for what he's doing.
Oh,
which,
totally.
like, valid.
Right.
But like, and it's the dad just coming to terms with like he's losing control, and like there's a doorway in between him, and then like at one point
It was the doorway. That's what I remember. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was very much like,
I remember that one.
towards the end of it, it's just like the music starting to get intense, and she's like crawling away and trying to hide on the other side of the bed, and he's just trying to beat the door down.
Yes.
And it's like,
It's overtaking him.
this is getting heavy.
Yeah.
And we never actually performed it.
No,
but
but
we worked on it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it was,
Those are
it
the
really
ones that-
sticks into my head.
But isn't that amazing? Those were the kind of stuff that we would do that if people only realize, some that did get to see our dramas, there's some that you all didn't even see that we pushed so many limits on. We were like, should we even put it up on stage?
Yeah.
You know,
There were some, 9 out of 10 was one of them. I thought some of the fathers were going to come after us.
Right.
Because we took their daughters, and like their mothers, the mothers of these girls that were on the team took their daughters to go buy skimpy clothes.
Justin, very scandalous.
Yeah, very,
still presentable for drama, so people
Correct.
are listening, but it was very to the point where you're like, you knew the point we were trying to get across.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it was very much that tone of like, they're either going to like love it, or we're going to get run out of here with pitchforks and torches.
Right. You guys are horrible people.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm listening for the metallic click of the shotgun.
But
in the crowd.
people loved it. That one was
did.
the most, I think, one of the most mentally draining, because we did ones that were just technically hard.
Yeah.
The one from Skillet, the doctor one,
Comatose.
what was Comatose? That one was a technical one.
It was
You
very
had
much
a lot of details that were in that
Yeah.
one that had to go together. So nothing that was really hard, or as far as like heavy, I should say, but hard.
Yeah.
More so to, you got to do this, you got to do
Hit
that.
your
Remember,
mark.
this, that. That was technically hard.
Yeah.
So
There was a lot of little nuances in that one that I just never kind of like caught, like the whole blood getting drained thing.
oh, that was amazing. I love that one.
That was something, it took me like 2 watches to be like, there's a thing going on there.
Yeah.
Like I didn't catch
I
it.
think we even got first place in that. I think
guys
we
did. Yeah.
in that one. And that was, wow.
That was the first one I had performed. It was at a church, I think down south. We did a couple of those, and I was in the role of the one pulling out
Yes.
the guy from the body.
Fighting side, or not fighting side.
That was comatose.
Was it Comatose you say?
Yeah,
That you
that was-
actually did that one too?
I
or-
did the pulling out of the
Oh, okay. Sorry.
the guy
Yes.
out of the body on the table.
Gotcha.
And I missed my mark on that. I remember that because the song starts and I'm not doing nothing.
Yes.
But he's coming out and I'm like, well, he's gone. He's done.
Right.
So I just kind of walked over, grabbed him, and threw him on the ground like I was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Missed my mark totally. I'm like, all right, cool. But
But isn't that amazing?
that happens.
It does. It happens. But it's amazing how intricate and I'm just gonna say we demanded perfection in
Yeah.
Bold, but you almost had to come across that way. But it always seemed to come across the way it needed to
Yeah.
at the right time for the right people.
Those practices
So-
too, man, they ran so long it felt.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you made a mistake, it didn't matter if there was only 10 seconds left in the track.
Boom. But we know
Hand
both.
up.
We'll stuck our hands up. Boom. That's what it was.
Put your hand up. That
Start it
means
over.
stop the track. And because I was in the booth most of the time, so it was like I start the track over, and
You just pretty much had that ready because it was gonna happen.
it was always going to happen. They'd let you go like when you're first doing it, like okay, laughs and
oh
kind
yeah,
of thing.
we had some
But then-
grace there. Yeah,
But then there'd be the times like, all right, we're going for real. Like, don't move.
you should have this down.
Don't move. Don't cough. Don't scratch your nose. Don't nothing.
And that's what boom every time. Boom. Oh, start over. Start
Yep.
over. Start over.
Yep.
I'm tired of this. Okay, you don't have to do it. No, I want to. Okay, well,
Well, then get back to position 1.
let's go.
Yep, starting.
That's right.
And it got to the point, man. It was like there were some of them. It drained you.
It did.
It really did. But it was so worth it.
But Kevin, I loved it, man. Like
Every
I said,
bit.
I just eat, sleep, and breathe that stuff all the time, dude.
Yep.
I love it. I just love being able to show that stuff in front of people. And I don't even have to be in it because during the last part of it, I was starting to not be in it. And it was still fun for me to be able to help build them from the ground up and see people do that stuff. I
Yes.
loved it.
That was the first time I couldn't be on stage for the teen talent competition for our district.
Yes.
We had students up there doing it. And I was in more of a leadership role. So I was like, I'm pacing in the back of this church.
You'd almost rather be up there on stage.
I would so much rather be up there. Because I think we were in Jeff City. We were in Jeff City or
Yeah.
Finland, one of the two. And I'm just standing there and I'm like, I can't look.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so nervous. I'm not even, if I was up there, it'd be no problem.
Right.
But back here, I can do nothing. Like, we've practiced. You're on your own.
That's it.
It's fly, my little birds, fly.
That's exactly. I was just thinking that. That's totally what it was.
And it's terrifying. But
I'm sending you out into the real world. Go for it.
Yep. But eventually, it's like you know that you've practiced enough.
Mm-hmm.
You do have that perfectionist streak in there.
Oh,
of
totally.
Like,
Yeah.
This has to be up to snuff, or we're not doing it. Chris used to tell us that all the time, even just in music. He's like, if you're not going to put your best foot forward, don't go up there.
There's times people listening, we were requested to do something and we didn't have it ready on time. We didn't do it.
Yeah.
We did that. We demanded that from our team.
Mm-hmm.
And if we weren't up to it, we'd let them know, I'm sorry, but we can't be there.
Yeah.
Or we can't do it.
Yep.
Well, you let people down? No. But we just demanded that of ourselves. And it was like, we're not going to bring something up to you that's not worthy enough to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And yeah, and that trickles into how I do things now. It's like, I don't ever want to put something out that isn't practiced.
Yeah.
You know, if we're doing a worship song, we're wanting to introduce a new song, and it's like, it isn't up to snuff, we're not putting it out.
I hear you.
We're not putting it out until it's done.
That's right.
And like, I even go so far as like new equipment. If I bring in a new guitar or new pedal or something, I'm having practices with it like a minimum like a month.
Sure.
Me personally, before I'd go, this thing is up to snuff, I can bring it out for Wednesdays.
I get it.
Because like it's in my brain of like, what, you know, is this perfected? Is this to your level?
Right, totally.
Of what you want to put out? Because it is, you're putting it out.
That's it.
know?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with demanding excellence. God demands that of us. You know, I mean, excellence is not perfection, but excellence is trying our best.
Yeah.
And going over and above. And that's what we did in Bold. Just what you do in ministry. It's what I think you just do in life.
Yeah.
God, I think, just expects that of us. I mean, His grace is always more than enough, and He'll not hold us to that, but we really need to not have regrets.
Yeah.
And do that.
And I think it protects you as well, because if you're going to do something and you're not going to put your best foot forward, don't do it.
Right.
So it's like, don't put forth that effort. Don't put forth the time and energy into something. If it isn't going to work out, like, or not, I won't say if it's not going to work out. If you're not going to do your best in it, don't bother.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like, I want to save my best for something that I can do.
That's how I am.
You know,
Kevin, even going and speaking, or if I'm going to speak to some people or whatever it is, I want to make sure that whatever message I'm bringing forth is the right one, or I'll say, I can't.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yep.
Or I've got to change to a different message, or I've got to do something else because stop. You can't. If it's forced, sometimes you need to check your spirit. Is it of God?
Yeah.
Because to me, God will let you know what you need to do.
I've had recently, as this past year, I've had nightmares of like giving a sermon and forcing it. And like trying to get people to pay attention. And in the dream, people would be like turning and walking away. And like, I'm just standing there just trying to get their attention.
Wow.
Because I'm forcing it. I'm trying to force something that this isn't the time for this.
It's like you're doing it on your own and not by the will of God.
Yep.
Spirit of God.
And
right.
it's like, you need to watch out. What are you putting your energy and effort into?
Totally.
Is it something that you should be, or it's something that you're trying to force to happen? And man, it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And then what are you left with? You're left with something that didn't work out. You're tired. You're angry. You're all these things.
All because of what? Your ego?
Yeah.
Or your pride?
Yeah, exactly. Your ego and your pride. You're
It's
just like, I have to do this because I am this. And
this is an amazing message, man. You should see what I did. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
God didn't want you to do that one.
Not right now.
No. Save it.
And that's not, it's not always a no. It's
Right.
just not right now.
It's not the timing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have to be humble enough to be like, okay, this isn't about me. We said that a few times today.
Right.
It isn't about me.
Right.
Keep my ego in check. I'm not here to please any person.
Absolutely.
Least of all myself.
Oh, totally. Oh.
Just let it go.
Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, dude, Bold was one of those things. Like, and just working with that. Again, it's music, it's visual, it's people engage in that. And it's definitely something that was needed, man, because
It was. And I personally still think it's needed now because of the way social media and kids are. I think they visually need to see something lived out in front of them.
they do.
That's not down looking at a phone or out. And I'm not saying things wrong. Technology can be for the better.
Yeah.
But I just feel like they're lost in a world that's not real.
And
What we did was real, and it is real.
Yeah.
And it's going on in their own personal lives. And I feel like that this generation has not had anyone to get in their face and say, "Hey, we know what you're going through. here's a way to get through it, but it's your choice. Do you want to stay in it or do you want to get out?
That is one of the big reasons I wanted to do this podcast, was because I know how bad technology can be. I do. I'm not going to be ignorant and hide my head in the sand and defend technology that it's only good and only ever does good. I know better than most that technology is bad.
Sure.
It can be used for bad, and there are bad things on it. But I also believe that God can turn anything for good.
Right.
And
absolutely.
that's why I want to put something out like this for the kids, for adults, for whomever who want to take something with them throughout the week. Doing little, like filming little things, or like if we did a drama, it's like, yeah, let's put it on TikTok or whatever.
Right. You don't have to just do it in front of a big world of people.
Yeah.
You could do it just for that, social media.
Yeah. Just to have something to like, okay, you're going to take it with you. Because these kids and a lot of people, they just get talked at. Like, and
They're tired of that.
they're very tired of that. They go to school all day and get talked at.
Yes.
Why am I standing up there
Yes.
for 20 minutes talking at you even more? Which is why I try to do illustrations and like
I agree.
incorporate clips and things like that to
That's
where
good.
there's something to hold their attention other than just words.
Absolutely.
Like there's an action with it. That's where dramas come in. That's where music comes in.
Yes.
It's super important because these kids are tired of getting talked at.
Totally.
That they get it from their teachers, they get it from their parents. It's a lecture after lecture after lecture, and these kids
They just want to be able to spread their wings and not just be this the whole time or
Yeah.
this the whole time. They need something, and we have to find what that something is to fill that void.
But I don't think it's just kids that need it too, because we've grown up with it.
Oh, we have.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like
It's not just kids. So.
Yeah, people are visual. People love to hear and see things. They're very shiny bubbles. We all are.
Right.
I love a good lighting system. Like I
Right.
really do. Just because, it's the movement, it's the atmosphere, it's the
Sure.
whatever. So like I'll look at that, but I also like the technical side of it of
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a RGBW 120 WPAR or whatever, and like I have two of those. That's just me.
Right.
But some people are like, I want to have a visual representation of what I'm going through.
Okay.
I don't want you to just talk to me
Yes.
about an issue. I want to see what is going on.
Yeah.
Whether it's through a video clip, whether it's a human video, a drama, whatever it may be.
Right.
I want to see what I'm going through.
I agree.
Because right now it's just in here. It's
It
just
is.
in here.
Sure.
But
I agree, man. That's what's needed, because too much is just strictly social. But it's like, if we have nothing to do in our life, what do? We just grab our phone and look. Why don't we just sit down and look at each other and
have a conversation.
have a conversation?
Have a conversation.
Talk about stuff or get to know, hey, man, how's your day?
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to talk at you. If you want to just sit and chill with me, or we'll sit and grab a coffee or walk around just in a park. I don't know. I'm not trying to sit here and sound old here, but you know what I mean? But go in and do something.
Yeah.
And enjoy. Go to a concert, go and
Play
hang
a
out.
game. Do
So,
something. Like,
Yes.
Like we can, and that's just, again, like I hearken back to it. The memories that you make are not the ones. I couldn't tell you a sermon that Troy Brody spoke here. I can
crazy?
barely tell you any of the sermons.
Isn't that crazy?
Maybe one because I heard it a ton, and it was about Elijah.
Sure,
and that's
sure.
one I've always kind of kept with me.
Yeah.
But like I've heard that man preach hundreds of sermons. Couldn't call him out, but I know he loved God,
See?
and I know he loved us.
Right.
And
Right.
the interactions I had with him, the memories that I made with him, show me that he's more of a Christian than his sermons did.
And I felt like Troy was more action than verbal. He would go out and take you with him to go do stuff.
Literally was.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'll always remember about going into Agape and just music. Dude, that's a whole other topic we get on too, dude. See, you're like,
I completely
yes.
forgot about Agape.
Oh,
That's another hour.
Dude, that's easy. We'll have to talk about that sometime, dude.
Yeah.
But that was something else he did. Mm-hmm. Agape was that's what I remember a lot with Troy, was how long he could pray. That man could pray forever. But
so
you know,
long.
but in sincerity, but he was a long prayer. That's
Yeah.
fine. But Agape, dude, I love, and bands. I should say bringing bands to the cave.
Oh, yeah.
He had a knack for that, man.
If you ever
he
get
knew
to
how
the-
to do it.
If you ever get to the cave, go back behind the stage and look at the wall. That's all
Yes.
the bands that have played there. I'm on there twice.
Yeah, go behind the stage. Absolutely, dude. There's so many memories stories from that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just say the word Agape, and you find the right person that went to Agape.
Gosh.
We could
It's
tell
one
you
of
some
those-
stories, man.
You had to be there for them.
You did, but that was us before
That was it.
phones.
Yeah.
And social media.
That was
and that was our social media,
Dude,
right there.
Because I think I've told you this story that Stephen, Brian, and I and Tyler snuck in the night before. Troy sent teenagers
Yes.
into Illinois.
This is true.
This is 100% true. Sent teenagers to sneak onto a farmland in Illinois.
Yes.
To
where Agape was going to be played.
Where Agape was going to be played, so that we can set up tents in one of the horse stables
that we liked. From the year before.
We were dodging security. There were people with flashlights walking around setting up stuff. We pulled on, we turned our lights off, just kind of coasted the car in.
We had our own SEAL Team 6 in there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They sent me. I'm like, I'm a gravy SEAL at best. Like, why are you sending me on a stealth mission?
Right.
I'm just going to stay in the car, guys.
Well, because everyone knew that if they could outrun Kevin, they'd be fine.
Yeah.
So they'd just take Kevin and that'd be it. So.
Just another one of my family in jail is all. That's all it is.
That's right. But we got the best spot.
We did.
We had some of the best memories from all that stuff. Times that we laughed, we cried, we just enjoyed each other's company, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Agapes. Those were fun.
One of the most surreal moments of my life was getting woken up during that storm.
That was intense.
And they're like, "Hey, we need you guys," because we had set up plastic wrap around the whole thing. We were fine. We
were good.
We had a roof and walls. They woke me up out of my tent and they go, "You need to go over to the metal building."
Yeah.
And
where David Crowder was playing,
and it's pouring rain.
Some of us are sitting out like playing washers and eating. We're fine. Don't get mad at us that we came prepared.
Right. And they're like, you got to go. So I'm trying to pile in to this metal building.
We all were.
You couldn't.
No, we're standing out in the rain now.
Under power lines.
Yes.
And like watching David Crowder play. And I had this moment of just like this out of body experience that David Crowder is playing a song. It is thunderstorm and rain outside. Yes. And I'm just like, okay,
yeah,
this is life.
He's singing about God. We're about to go meet him.
Yeah,
because it was that bad. And we're like people. We were dry back there having a good old time. We could hear Crowder.
Yeah,
from where we were like staying at the tents.
Fine.
We were doing great. Not now.
Yeah, so. And it's just I heard the thunder crash one time, and I'm like, I'm going back to the tent.
I think people were just so surprised how prepared we were.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, you need to go up there with everybody. Why? Yeah.
Do you want to come in here?
Like, right. We got some food, man. We got food going now.
We got the light that's absorbing all the electricity from the neighboring town.
We played so much washers, we embedded it into the ground. It's like, hey, we're coming here and join us. We had a great time.
We had a nice little community, Caveville.
Dude, it was Caveville. I forgot we called it that.
I have the banner.
Do you really?
The banner that we had made, that Troy had made, the vinyl banner, it says "Welcome to Caveville," the one that got us in trouble.
Oh yes! Oh my gosh!
Because they found us.
But do you remember how muddy it was though too there?
Yes.
People, we were throwing clothes away.
Yeah, it was in April.
Because of how? Yeah, I mean it was mud up to our knees. Shoes we had to throw. We couldn't bring it back.
No, there's no point. I'm not putting it in my bag.
No, I'm not. Like, what am I going to do with it? No.
Yeah, just go right over to the trip. We were washing our hair from the water that's coming off
the water spigot, and also from the
roof,
the tin roof. Yes,
yeah. Water like rain is just hitting it. We're just out there,
so cold. Oh my gosh, brushing our teeth from all that.
Yep. Again, memories that you make that you're never going to forget.
And what did we have from that? Relationships, man. Yeah. We built relationships through that we now still laugh and cry about and enjoy. And because we took the time to do that, kind of like what the whole essence of this conversation has been about. Yeah. Spend time with people, man. Sit in the mud with them. We did,
Yeah.
And we've helped each other through so much stuff.
Because there was no expectation.
There wasn't.
That was the best thing. Because I've always felt like I was expected to be this or that. And I know you've probably felt that too.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Living life. You're expected of this and that. And it's just like you're with your buddies in a mud-filled horse stable in the middle of Illinois.
Right. Rain, sun. I mean, you didn't know what it was going to be.
There is no expectation from anybody.
There wasn't.
I'm not expecting you to do nothing. Don't expect nothing from me.
Sleep all day for all I care.
We're existing.
Yeah. We're laughing. We're eating. Yeah. We're listening to music.
You're not holding me to any kind of standard. I'm not holding you to anything. You want to go get 4 turkey legs? Go get 4 turkey legs.
That's right.
You want to sit in your tent and drink Monster all day?
But wasn't that?
Go for it.
It's funny you brought that up, Kevin, because even when some people couldn't afford stuff, we all would pitch in and help one another too.
Exactly.
There was money that was just given to other people. We'd be like, man, I really wanted to get this T-shirt. Oh, that's cool, dude. I wasn't going to get one. Here you go.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you can't. Yeah. Hey, we're family, dude.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Go grab it. That we did all that, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, meeting bands, just going partying all night, with Christian bands, dude. It was just, It was so much fun. Skillet and Family Force 5 is still one of my favorite ones ever.
They were not allowed back at Agape.
I know, dude. That's how intense they were. I loved it, man.
They were asked never to return.
But they reminded me of us.
Yeah.
How just crazy they were.
Well, because they were a family, most of them.
They were,
you know?
dude.
And
gosh, man.
They were just climbing all over stuff and just didn't care.
No.
They were just, we're here to have fun. You don't ask us back? Okay.
That's fine. We're gonna make sure we give 110 now.
We're gonna go have fun regardless.
And they would meet everybody afterwards. They were cool.
They were so cool.
But that whole season was awesome, dude. We did that for a few years, and gosh, you looked forward to it every time we did it.
Yeah. When I first heard that they were moving it to an indoor facility, I went, I don't want to go.
I'm done.
Yeah. You've just taken the soul. Yep. What I thought
for
the
us.
Soul of Agape was.
And I know that we were probably not the only people that experienced that either. I guarantee you there were others that were like, nah. It was the experience out in that field that made it for us.
There was something about that air. There's something about that mud. There's something about that rain and that thunder.
We got to hang out for 3 days together, man, and that was the best 3 days ever.
It was better than any vacation I've ever taken.
Oh yeah, dude, hands down. I loved it. I love my family. I love the vacations I've been on, but there was something special about that I can't even compare it to.
Yep.
So
Gosh,
loved
man.
it. So,
but no, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah,
I appreciate
enjoyed
this
it, man.
Conversation, dude. We're gonna do this again.
Yeah, we will. We'll find
like,
some more stuff to talk about. I love podcasts. I've been wanting to get into this, so I really hope this one goes well, and I want to do some more for sure.
No, man. Again, I appreciate you. Is there anything you want to say closing out? Anything that we've talked about?
No, just I'd like to do, like I said, do some more in the future. Get some other people in at the same time. I'd like to, bend some more ears and talk some other things going on in the world. But no, I just appreciate you bringing me on here. I've always appreciated you, Kevin. You work hard, man, for where you've come from being 15 years old. You've done so much of this stuff on your own. You've had great mentors along the way. To the position that you're in now, that I just blew my mind when I heard that they said, hey, Kevin's going to be the one to take over. And you can mark my words, whenever they told me, I said, there's no one better to take the spot. And I said that, and I said, Kevin's the perfect one. So anyone who's listening to these podcasts, take time and listen. Listen to him, watch him. He's putting some time and effort into it, and you're going to be thoroughly enjoy it and be blessed by it. So I enjoy it, man. That's for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That was a very kind word. Again,
Absolutely.
Words of affirmation.
That's right. That's right.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, giving me your input. And
Absolutely.
I've always loved your point of view on things.
Yeah.
And again, I knew it would be a good conversation. I'll be honest, this whole session, I know we're going to break this up into episodes. We've been going 2 hours.
Have we really?
Yeah. 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
So
okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
But again, that's what happens. We got great conversation.
That's cool, dude.
So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you guys out there listening. We'll catch you in the next one.